Just a few weeks ago, this cornfield was lush and green, covered with heavy ears of corn. But now, after the harvest, it stands desolate. The dried, cracked corn stalks remain, leaving behind an empty, barren space. This is also the time when the wild boar herd begins to pour in, rummaging through the remains in search of anything left behind. And we knew this was an opportunity we couldn't miss. It was time to act, to stop this invasion and protect the land from the destruction of these wild invaders. From early morning, we hopped into our trusty hunting vehicle and made our way down the road leading to the recently harvested cornfield in Spain. Upon arrival, my eyes scanned the terrain with intense focus, surveying the area. And then, I spotted a familiar dark shape moving in the distance. I immediately adjusted the focus, my heart racing as I recognized it. A wild boar. Without hesitation, my finger squeezed the trigger. The bullet whistled through the air, hitting the mark. At the same time, over on the other side, Kevin was working hard every second to handle another target. A decisive start, showcasing both skill and perfect coordination within the team, right from the very first moments. Undeterred, we pressed on, continuing to scan the cornfield. Every step was quick and deliberate, for wild boars are never easy to catch. It wasn't long before another target appeared within our sights. A series of well-aimed shots rang out, each one hitting its mark, but the boar still surged forward with terrifying speed, its instincts kicking in as it darted into the corn stalks to escape. However, the massive 300-kilogram beast lay motionless not far from there, a victory that came as a surprise, causing the tension to dissipate in an instant. And the determination for the hunt was only heightened. The sun was high, and after a fruitless walk, my team and I decided to switch to ATVs to search for the prey across the open fields. There it is. Kevin quickly signaled to me. Once we had the direction, we sped ahead to intercept. Each shot was precise, taking down the target in the blink of an eye. Joy quickly became apparent, as all our planning and seamless coordination came together perfectly, with no beast escaping our grasp. After our lunch break, with the clock striking 3 p.m., we quickly made our way south across the field. While searching for signs of wild boar, Jay suddenly signaled that the prey had just escaped his pursuit. Drawing from years of hunting experience, we quickly pinpointed the boar's direction. As soon as the target appeared, a series of shots rang out. In less than a minute, the beast collapsed in the middle of the field, with cheers echoing, a testament to the skill and decisiveness of seasoned hunters. After hours of battling, the afternoon sun began to tint the entire field with a reddish hue. The wild boars, panicked, hid within the cornfields that had only been half harvested. We selected an ideal position to encircle the field, patiently waiting for them to show themselves.
Go back.
Their heightened vigilance made the pursuit much more difficult. But thanks to our patience and persistence, we quickly took down more of the elusive targets. Just when we thought it was all over, we returned with our trophies in hand. It seemed fate had other plans, as a few straggling boars remained scattered in the area. In just a few minutes, with swift coordination, each one of them fell, one after another. Once again, our skill and vigilance allowed us to maintain the upper hand until the very last second. What was supposed to be a peaceful visit to Bob's hometown, a chance to breathe in the sweet scent of endless sugarcane fields, quickly turned into something else entirely. What greeted us wasn't peace, but devastation. One look into the hollow eyes of Bob's family, and I knew this wasn't just his fight anymore. A plan was laid out. A hunting team was assembled. Could we restore justice? The answer lies in the journey ahead.
The dogs.
In the sharp chill of early morning, every position was locked in across the hillside, ready for the hunt. Down below, our loyal four-legged partners had already been released, pushing the prey into a carefully orchestrated path. Bob had just settled into position on the hillside. He knew this was the wild boar's favorite escape route when driven up from below. There it was. The boar appeared, just barely breaking the ridge. In a split second, Bob held his breath, locked in. The beast dropped at the base of the hill. for hesitation. Against a creature this fast and dangerous, sharp instincts and decisive action are the only things standing between success and failure. While Bob held the high ground, I took up a critical position at the foot of the hill, locking down every possible escape route. The tension was razor sharp, every sense tuned in, pulsing with the rhythm of the hound's barking. There it was. The wild boar tore through the brush, and in that very instant, my shot rang out. Boom! One shot. That's all it took. The target was neutralized. It was a clean, perfect finish, made possible by the raw drive of the hounds and the steady hand of a hunter forged by years of experience. Just when things seemed to settle down, before I could even lower my rifle, the GPS tracker buzzed in my hand. The hounds had cornered the target in a dense thicket not far from where I stood. I moved in cautiously. That brush could be a grave for anyone reckless enough to rush in. So instead of charging blindly, I hovered my finger over the trigger, waiting. And the moment it burst out in a frenzy, I held my breath. Boom! Dropped it where it stood. Experience has taught me this. A wise hunter doesn't meet fury with force, he waits, and turns the beast's panic into his own advantage. The midday sun beat down hard on the hillside, waves of heat rolling off the dirt. Our brief moment of rest was suddenly cut short by a GPS alert. The hounds had cornered the target deep inside a thicket. John and I moved fast, picking our pre-assigned positions. Two angles, two shooters. If I missed, he'd be there to finish the job. Then, the rustling turned violent, a full-force charge out of the brush. My heart jumped, but my hands were already on instinct. Boom! Boom! It didn't even have time to cry out. Every pull of the trigger is a moment of truth, backed by years of hardened instinct and skill. Because the tracks we leave behind in this land, they're our silent promise that the harvests will be full and the nights will be peaceful once again. The sweetness of victory still lingered. On our way back to regroup with the team, we spotted dark shapes hiding behind tall brush. John locked in, steady, angled the perfect shot. Boom! One dropped. The rest scattered in a frenzy. They were heading straight toward Bob. We radioed in immediately, giving him the heads up to get ready. Most people hear gunfire, but for us, that sound carries something more. A quiet sigh of relief from the farmers whose fields just got spared. Unbelievable! A terrifying scene unfolding across America. Fields and crops vanish overnight. None other than wild boars. In an effort to protect the peace of the villages, skilled hunters have set out on a noble mission to push back the threat of wild boars ravaging the farmlands. This hunt is not just a battle, but an intense journey to safeguard the fruits of the farmer's labor. To prepare for today's hunt, the hunters are outfitting themselves with state-of-the-art tools, from powerful rifles, high-tech binoculars, to suppressors to maintain the secrecy of their positions, all for the safety and tranquility of the village. Follow them closely. Witness the breathtaking moments and the unpredictable action. Will they succeed? Stay tuned to find out. Kevin's team marches toward the field, the first location of the day. They quickly disperse, each taking their designated ambush positions. The entire team remains silent, waiting. About 10 minutes later, from the east, Jay spots a group of wild boars. They're entering the area, starting to root and destroy the crops. Jay raises his rifle, locking onto the lead boar, the largest one in the herd. Boom! The beast is hit, but still tries to escape. The rest of the boars panic, scattering wildly into the thick bushes, disappearing from sight. Undeterred, Kevin quickly targets a lone boar that's fallen behind the group. A sharp shot rings out, shattering the silence. The boar drops instantly. The first victory fuels the team's momentum.
Yapıştır.
On the other side, Jay is silently closing in on a wild boar hiding among the bushes. James, stationed at the roadblock, moves quietly, holding his breath as he crouches behind a patch of grass. Suddenly, a large shadow bursts out from the underbrush. The wild boar charges straight toward the field. Without hesitation, James pulls the trigger. The sound of the gunshot echoes. The wild boar collapses instantly, unable to cause any more damage. One shot, one decisive blow, saving the entire field. Soon after, the sound of hounds echoed from afar, signaling the appearance of the target. James and his team quickly pinpoint the sound, moving to a strategic position for a clear shot. A large shadow emerges from a distance. The wild boar is moving slowly toward the field. James, with his vast experience, doesn't rush. He waits, carefully lining up his shot on the boar's head. Boom! The shot rings out sharply. The wild boar collapses onto the cold earth, unable to react. The threat has been neutralized before it could cause any harm. This isn't just a game, it's a duty to protect the livelihoods of the people, and the battle is far from over. After taking a break to recover, the team moves westward toward a dense thicket, the perfect hiding spot for the wild boars. From a distance, they can hear the hounds barking, a sound that echoes through the air. Using the trained instincts of a seasoned hunter, Kevin quickly takes his position. Sure enough, a massive wild boar suddenly bursts out of the bushes, charging toward Kevin at full speed. Without a second's hesitation, he squeezes the trigger. The boar collapses, barely a meter away from him. If he'd hesitated for even a split second, Kevin might not be standing here now. What do you think of this intense face-to-face showdown? Drop a comment below and let us know. A moment later, the sound of hounds suddenly echoed from the trail, signaling the target's presence. James and his team rushed forward, quickly pinpointing the location. They take cover behind thick bushes, rifles aimed forward. The atmosphere becomes tense. A wild boar appears. Without hesitation, James squeezes the trigger. The sharp crack of the shot fills the air. The boar collapses, unable to take another step. A danger has been eliminated. The perfect coordination between the hunting dogs and the hunter's precise shooting skills forms the solid step toward protecting this year's harvest. The hunt has become exhausting. The team is preparing to pack up and rest. A moment of silence envelops the forest, only to be shattered by the urgent barking of the hounds. A clear signal. This is the final target of the day. The fertile fields are being ravaged mercilessly by ferocious wild boars. They lurk in treacherous terrain, challenging even the most skilled marksmen. Facing the devastation caused by these beasts, the hunters refuse to back down, plunging into a fierce battle to stop the marauders. Will they succeed? Today's hunt will provide the answer. Join us to witness the thrilling moments right now. Following the plan precisely, the team swiftly moves into the dense forest in France. Upon arrival, they promptly advance to their pre-assigned positions, discreetly observing their surroundings. The battle officially begins when a wild boar suddenly appears in John's crosshairs. It charges through the trees, completely unaware that it has stumbled into the line of fire. Seizing the moment, decisive gunshots ring out until the beast staggers. Through his binoculars, John continues to observe and confirm, only to notice it's still struggling to escape. Another shot echoes, leaving no room for error, and the boar finally lies still on the bed of dry leaves. Continuing to move through the forest, their steps are slow and cautious. Tense eyes scan every leaf, missing no movement. Suddenly, a dark shadow darts across their view. Without hesitation, a barrage of shots rings out again, halting the beast's charge. But the hunt isn't over yet. John and his team press deeper into the forest, where the wild boars still lurk, determined to put an end to the threat. As expected, not long after advancing, a wild boar swiftly appears. John immediately assumes a ready stance, his eyes locked on the target. Timing each step of the beast's charge, he fires the moment the opportunity strikes. Absolutely perfect! The creature collapses onto the ground, eliminating yet another threat to this land. Another battle unfolds simultaneously as Jay conducts his hunt in the dense thickets, the perfect hiding place for the monstrous beasts. Through his binoculars, he quickly spots a familiar silhouette. With his rifle cocked and no wasted movement, Jay pulls the trigger. A single shot and the beast collapses instantly. But before he can approach to check, an urgent signal blares. A second wild boar has just emerged. He swiftly rushes to the reported area, preparing for another thrilling confrontation. Upon arriving, Jay carefully observes every movement around him, ready for any situation that might arise. Suddenly, a wild boar charges out from the bushes ahead. Jay, already prepared, fires a precise shot that halts the beast's escape. Yep. A meticulously calculated move. Jay has successfully neutralized the threat. At another location, a tense chase is unfolding. As usual, the marksman repeats familiar maneuvers to take down the beast. However, this wild boar proves difficult to subdue, charging at breakneck speed. The shooter has to fire multiple shots in rapid succession to finally halt its escape. At last, the beast lies still on the grass. hunting wild boars to protect livestock, the never-ending battle. The ferocious beasts, armed with razor-sharp tusks, are ravaging crops, destroying farmland, and causing millions of dollars in losses for farmers. They fearlessly invade fields, lurk in dense forests, and spread terror across the region. Intense battles are unfolding to reclaim the land and protect the lives of the people. Can the hunters take down these savage creatures? Stay tuned for the thrilling moments just ahead. John's team, a group of fearless marksmen, kicked off today's hunt to restore peace to the fields. At 6 a.m., they piled into their familiar truck, heading straight for the post-harvest fields. Upon arrival, the team swiftly moved to their pre-assigned positions. Ten quiet minutes passed when a dark shadow emerged, leisurely foraging as if it owned the territory. But nothing escaped Jay's binoculars. He adjusted his stance, chose the perfect angle, and pulled the trigger. A rapid burst of gunfire echoed, and the beast collapsed before it could flee. Before they could track further, a signal erupted from the towering reeds, betraying the presence of the beast. John and his team rushed forward. Moments later, the hound's frantic barking echoed from the reeds right in front of John. He focused intently, and then the target came into his sights. A sharp gunshot rang out, dropping the beast with a single precise shot. A swift, clean, and accurate finish. At the same moment, on the eastern edge of the field, a wild boar leisurely crossed the blockade point of one of the team's marksmen, completely unaware of the ambush. As the beast drew closer, he seized the moment, took aim, and pulled the trigger. The bullet struck true, piercing its body, and the boar collapsed instantly. Another threat was eliminated, restoring peace to the field. An exhilarating ambush is underway in the dense jungle, where another team had set up their position early. Nestled in the lush undergrowth, Kevin was assigned the crucial role of blocking, observing the silhouette of their prey. 5 minutes later, gunfire erupted continuously from his teammates' direction. A wild boar shot past, weaving through the volley of bullets, desperately trying to escape. Kevin swiftly locked onto the target, tracking the boar's movements. Rapid gunshots echoed, and the animal collapsed under the hand of the professional hunter. Just a moment's hesitation, and it could have vanished into the thicket. In another corner of the forest, a marksman had sighted his target. Just as the beast was lumbering through a clearing between the bushes, he seized the opportunity and immediately opened fire. A single shot brought the animal down in an instant. From other positions, gunfire erupted simultaneously, with each corner of the forest marking another victory for the team. The hunt had protected the villagers from their lingering nightmare, promptly preventing further devastation by the monstrous creature.
Fields torn apart, crops ravaged overnight, livestock pens left in ruins, and it all traces back to one culprit: wild boars. Not only are they appearing more frequently, but they're also becoming bolder and more aggressive. Agricultural damage has reached a critical level, and before the next planting season begins, the most experienced hunters have stepped in. In today's video, we'll take you deep into heart-pounding chases and daring ambushes, moments that are sure to leave you stunned. The first hunt comes from Ryan, a seasoned hunter living in the Anatolian mountains of Turkey. During one of his outings, an unexpected encounter took a dangerous turn. While tracking a trail, a large boar suddenly charged out from the bushes, heading straight for Ryan in a full-blown attack. The danger unfolded in a split second, but with nerves of steel, Ryan spun around, took aim, and brought the beast down just before it could reach him. Regaining his focus, he spotted another boar nearby, startled by the gunshot and trying to flee. But Ryan was quicker. He tracked it, took the shot, and brought down his second target shortly. We now move on to Ken, a hunting enthusiast living in the mountains of Dennysley. After several days of watching the area, he discovered a herd of wild boars moving through the forest, the very culprits that had devastated local cornfields at the base of the mountain. However, things weren't so simple. The boars were clever and quick on their feet. They kept fleeing and changing direction, making it harder than ever to get a clear shot. Then there it was. As the herd entered his line of sight, he opened fire. Boar after boar went down, while the others scattered in fear, but none managed to escape his dead-accurate aim. This is Mark, a professional hunter who captured an unforgettable moment when he spotted a group of wild boars tearing through backyards. Wasting no time, he grabbed his hunting rifle and took action. The sloped terrain made it difficult to approach, but Mark used the hilltops as natural ambush points. With a clear line of sight, he was able to close in and take down each boar with expert precision. While other hunters were still navigating rugged mountains, Logan was having a truly unique experience in the snow-covered peaks of northern Turkey. With deep sub-zero temperatures and heavy snowfall, every movement was slow and deliberate, but in return, wild boar tracks stood out clearly against the white landscape. Logan advanced steadily, each step firm and quiet. When he spotted the herd foraging along the slope, he waited patiently for them to separate. Then, without hesitation, he pulled the trigger. The sudden strike caught the boars completely off guard. As the first one dropped, a rapid succession of clean, calculated shots followed, efficient and cold, just like the frozen scene around him. And to wrap up today's journey, we have Neil's story. He also had a remarkable hunt during the harsh winter season. While crossing a quiet, snow-covered slope, he unexpectedly spotted a lone wild boar struggling to move through the deep snow in search of shelter. With the target in his sights, Neil calmly got into position, observed carefully, and with a single precise shot, the animal went down, putting an end to the destruction it had caused in the area.